Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video. So I haven't uploaded or done anything in a little bit, but this is more of a rant video than anything. But this video is gonna be, first part is gonna be Christianity and okay, two. But I have noticed that a lot of people who are homophobic or people that can't stand anyone that's part of the LGBTQ community, they and they're Christian, they use their religion as an excuse when it's not. Like, there's literally no reason for them to use it as an excuse because they keep saying that God could only go to two genders. Well, if they even paid attention to what the Bible actually said, they would have noticed everything was done in a range. Like if I could get us a couple seconds to I don't think this is this way. No. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, I'm not seeing it on this, I forgot. I don't exactly what to say. Nope. But there's literally like everything they say about it, like, and everything about it, pretty much everything was made in a range. I know what the silence is. I just can't remember what this. History. couple of days ago, I think. So just give me a minute, guys. I should have had this prepared. Okay. Let me check. History. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Yeah. Finally found it. Like, here's what it says on here. When Christians think about gender, they tend to go back to the beginning. In Genesis, we find two stories about how things came to be. One of which says, "So God created humankind in His image. In the image of God, He created them, male and female. He created them." Genesis 1:27 NRSV. If you grew up hearing these stories and living with people who seem to fit inside these gender boxes, the existence of transgender people might seem to fly in the face of God's created order. However, when we look a little closer at each of these passages, we find a much more complex and beautiful world. For instance, when God creates men and women in Genesis 1, after creating opposites in every other corner of creation, day and night, land and sea, flying birds and swimming fish, humans then are also created in an opposite pair, male and female. Problem with the little reading of the text that even though Genesis sets up these boundaries, God's creation exists in spectrums, which pretty much is what the LGBTQ community is. It's people who fall in that in the spectrum between male and female, in that range. In between day and night, we have dawn and dusk. Between land and sea, we have coral reefs. We have coral reefs and estuaries and beaches. Between flying birds and swimming fish, we have penguins and high-jumping dolphins. Not too much of that uncategorizable favorite, the platypus. No one would argue that a penguin is an abomination while not fitting the categories of Genesis 1, or that an estuary is unpleasing to God because it's neither land or sea. In the same way, God gives every human a self that is unique and may not fit neatly into a box or binary. Among cisgender people, that is those who gender identities align with the sex they are assigned at birth, or non-transgender people. There's a wide variety in height, strength, hair distribution, size, and shape of reproductive organs, and nearly all other physical characteristics, which makes it hard for every single person on earth to fit neatly inside one's culture categories of man. Just nearly all physical characters. It makes it hard for every single person on earth to fit neither inside one's culture categories of man or woman. There is too a diversity among transgender non-binary people when it comes to bodies, personalities, beliefs, and experiences. But rather than writing Genesis 1 off as fiction that doesn't match reality, many affirming Christians recognize that the stories set down in this chapter were never meant to catalog all of creation, in which case it would just be an encyclopedia, but rather to point us towards God's power and love. Not every microbe and constellation must be named in this chapter in order to have a purpose and blessing. This too gives us a different perspective on the creation story. And here, a non-gendered human is created first, later piece of the first person, Adam, is made into the second person, Eve. Based on the order of creation in the story, some theologians argue that this passage upholds a structure called gender complementarity. Their complementarity asserts that God created two fundamentally different genders, which has strict responding social rules. In short, men were created to lead and women were created to follow. We don't have the space here to explore the rich biblical scholarship that's demonstrated the theological and pastoral need for Christian egalitarianism, but suffice to say these views, being held with the best intentions, have a consistent history of leading to emotional, spiritual, and physical violence against anyone, regardless of their sign, sex, or their gender identity or presentation. He does not complete or unwaveringly conform to gender expectations. Alternative, moving away from her complementarity, frees Christians up to explore the biblical alternatives for identity, community, and relationship. Alternatives based on the example Jesus set it called for in his teachings rather than a odd gender difference. One of the ways that Christians have historically understood that existed in the world to attribute it to the idea that things are not now as they were originally created before the sin of Adam and Eve later in Genesis. Since the fall, humans have experienced and caused things that are out of sync with God's plan. Some makers, whether the existence of transgender people may be a result of the fall rather than something that God intended from the beginning. However, it's important to know that transgender people have existed across cultures and times, dating back thousands of years. We also know that when it comes to something that transgender and non-binary people share, most is linked to the stress and oppression caused by other people. Studies show that when transgender people are affirmed and loved, their well-being also benefits. With this in mind, it would be more likely that sin is in play in the progressive and damaging ways we treat each other, not in the very fact of someone's existence. Pretty much says that pretty much all explains the simple phrase of God created everything in spectrums or ranges, and all these people that are part of the LGBTQ community, they're actually part of that spectrum. Because realistic, all these homophobes, transphobes, all these people that hate the LGBTQ community, what they're doing is actually, especially if they're a family of people that are part of it, all they're doing is giving those people more anxiety, more health issues, mental health issues actually. And I can tell you straight up, that can lead to some people being suicidal. Like, if we can all just get along, it doesn't matter if they're part of the LGBTQ community or not. I could care less if you are gay, trans, bi, a lesbian, whatever. I could care less. Why? Because it doesn't change how I view you. I'll still treat you the same. If you want me to use different pronouns, tell me and I will. If you want me to use a different name, tell me. I will. Like, I know part of it comes down to very small part of it comes down to communication. Like, in order for someone to, like, you have a quote-unquote dead name and your regular name. Your dead name is what you were pretty much the name you were born with, and then your regular name is the name you gave yourself. When you decided to change, you don't tell me the new name or what you want to be called or anything like that. I'm just gonna call you by your dead name or whatever you don't want to be called, because I won't know. Part of communication is one of the biggest issues in society, but it's actually a small issue when it comes to the LGBTQ issues, because they tell their family, they tell everyone they need to what they want to be called, but they don't listen because it's the Bible. And if they actually understood what the Bible said, they won't be able to actually they won't be able to use that as an excuse anymore, because it comes down to God created everything in spectrums. And everyone that's part of the LGBTQ community, they're part of that spectrum. Whether their family wants to believe it or not, they are. Plus, it's what makes people unique. Like, there's no people that are the same. None. Let me switch to my next topic, which is unfortunately gonna be a little bit more controversial. It's unfortunately gonna be black people and the cops. Like, the whole Black Lives Matter movement, like, it should have never became a thing, because they think that a majority of the people that are getting abused by the police That's all the site. It's white people. Both. That. Yeah. It's white people that have the most. And I don't know about this whole unknown area, which is why I'm just ignoring it. But look at how many white people were shot to death by the police compared to blacks. Blacks are just above Hispanics. Just above. While white people are pretty much double blacks. Like the whole Black Lives Matter thing. Yeah, do I think that the officers shouldn't have held Floyd, had their knees on Floyd's neck? Yeah, that is police brutality, and it should be illegal. Like, because yeah, our necks may be somewhat big, but at the same time we need our necks to breathe. So yeah, do I think the cops have been fired and arrested? Yeah, but that wasn't the only other person. This man, Chuck. This is back in 2016. And it does. Oh, schools. Whoa. What the hell? Like, fuck off, you stupid site. Yeah. I do this CNN because of and guess what? The charges were dismissed. If I was family members of Tony Tiampa, however you say his last name, I would be furious because that's murder. That is plain out murder. But no, here's why. Like, yeah, racism is there. But in the fact that this person died the exact same way as George Floyd. Exact same way. Because they were both killed because an officer was leaning onto their neck. Which, I'm sorry. It should be like the federal government should get a lot of. I don't know if they did. I have to check that later. That pretty much makes it so damn illegal for officers to put their knees on someone's neck that if they do, it's an immediate attempted murder charge. Because of how vital. Like, because if you kneel on someone's neck, you're blocking their only air passageway. And you do that, air's not gonna go into our body and into our lungs. The blood's gonna get pumped into the brain. And now right there, once the brain's dead for I think like 2 or 3 minutes, you're dead. Because the brain and the heart are, the brain dies, the heart will go shortly after. But nothing was done. The only reason it was done for George Floyd was because of the fact that he was black. But when this happened in 2016, nothing happened. Like, we need to end this whole police brutality against blacks bullshit, this whole Black Lives Matter shit, and make sure that if anything has other black, white, yellow, green, whatever, people who killed him, like especially in this case, they should be charged with murder or whatever. Because officers are there to uphold the law and be role models. Here are other exceptions to some laws like traffic laws. Yeah. They can speed, go through lights, whatever, if their lights are turned on. But I can tell right now, even if they have their lights turned on, when they're approaching an intersection, especially if they don't have the green light, they do have to either slow down to a couple miles an hour or completely stop. Make sure the intersection's clear. Because if they just keep going, there's a chance it'll cause a crash, which is what happened in Detroit.
Breaking news on Detroit's east side, a violent...
Yeah. Yeah, that engine did not slow down when coming to that intersection, so that engine would actually be at fault. Like any sort of emergency vehicle that has lights and signs, they do have to make sure they stop at, slow down at intersections to make sure it's clear, then go. Or else a crash could happen. And we need cops to stop leaning or putting a knee on people's necks. Because it's not gonna do anything. I mean, it's gonna end up killing them. Or in best case scenario, they could have some sort of brain issues. Isn't know if it's so. Yeah, you may not have died, but you're gonna have issues for the rest of your life. I'm no doctor, that's not that for reading too much. But hope you guys enjoyed this half-hour long rant video, and I will see you in the next one.